In a world where prejudices and judgments can obscure people's true essence, Marcus' story reminds us of the power of empathy, inclusion, and transformation. Follow his journey of self-discovery and change as he challenges norms and redefines what it means to be respected in an environment where appearance often speaks louder than the truth. If you're ready to be inspired by Marcus' story and follow his journey of transformation, don't waste time. Leave your like and subscribe so you don't miss any of the twists and turns of this exciting narrative. Together, let's spread the message of hope and inclusion. Marcus sat alone in his small apartment in New York City, the glow of the streetlights casting a soft light through his window. He had spent years building his career, climbing the corporate ladder in a successful jewelry business. But lately, something felt off. He felt trapped in a life that was no longer fulfilling. The demands of his job consumed him, leaving little room for personal happiness. As he pondered his future, a desire for change began to grow within him. One evening, during a solitary dinner, Marcus found himself lost in thought. The clinking of his fork against the plate was the only sound in the room. As he gazed out the window, he saw people passing by, each with their stories and lives. An idea sparked in his mind. What if he could step outside of his own life, even just for a moment? The thought of disguising himself as an ordinary man felt liberating. He envisioned shedding the weight of his title, the expectations that came with it, and simply being Marcus, a man like everyone else. The next day, he rummaged through his closet and chose simple clothes, a plain shirt, jeans, and a worn-out jacket. He looked in the mirror and saw a different version of himself, one that was free from the burdens of his identity. As he stepped out of his apartment, a wave of excitement washed over him. For the first time in years, he felt the thrill of anonymity, the freedom to walk the streets without being recognized. As he wandered through the bustling streets of New York, Marcus took in the sights and sounds with fresh eyes. The city, which had once felt overwhelming, now appeared vibrant and alive. He watched people chatting, laughing, and going about their day. There was a beauty in the ordinary that he had overlooked for far too long. With each step, he felt a sense of liberation. He was no longer just a businessman. He was a part of the city, a fleeting shadow among the crowd. Marcus's heart raced with the possibility of what lay ahead. He could be anyone, do anything. The thought invigorated him. His mind raced with ideas about how he could change his life, how he could use this experience to reconnect with himself and the world around him. He had always been driven by success, but now he yearned for something deeper, understanding, compassion, and connection. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the city, Marcus felt a renewed sense of purpose. He realized that this journey was not just about escaping his life, but about rediscovering who he was at his core. This adventure would lead him to unexpected places, challenge his perceptions, and ultimately change him forever. Little did he know, the journey was just beginning. Marcus approached the jewelry store with a mix of excitement and apprehension. The facade sparkled under the bright lights, showcasing exquisite pieces that seemed to whisper secrets of luxury and elegance. As he stepped inside, he was immediately enveloped by the warm glow of the interior. The walls were adorned with displays of fine jewelry, each piece meticulously arranged to catch the eye. Marcus felt a rush of anticipation. However, as he walked further into the store, he quickly noticed the indifference of the staff. They seemed more interested in their conversations than in helping customers. Marcus's heart sank slightly, but he pushed the feeling aside. He had come here with a purpose and would not let their attitude deter him. He wandered through the aisles, taking in the stunning pieces around him. There were diamond necklaces, elegant rings, and sparkling bracelets. Each item told a story of craftsmanship and beauty. Yet, as he looked around, he felt a growing sense of being underestimated. The employees glanced at him with dismissive eyes, clearly judging him based on his simple attire. Feeling a mix of frustration and determination, Marcus decided it was time to make his presence known. He approached the main counter where a group of salespeople gathered, laughing and chatting among themselves. With a polite smile, he attempted to engage them, but they barely acknowledged him. It was as if he were invisible. Marcus felt the weight of their prejudice bearing down on him. He knew that he was capable of being taken seriously, yet here, he was treated like an outsider. The experience was disheartening, but it also fueled his resolve. If they could not see him for who he was, he would find a way to show them. As he continued to explore the store, he focused on the jewelry, allowing himself to be absorbed by its beauty. Each piece reflected not just luxury but also a history, emotions, and dreams. He could appreciate the artistry, and in that moment, he felt a connection to the very essence of the jewelry business he had devoted his life to. But the dismissive attitudes of the staff lingered in the back of his mind. He reminded himself that he was more than what he wore. He was a man with experience, knowledge, and a passion for his craft. Although the treatment he received was disheartening, he was determined to rise above it. With each passing moment, Marcus's frustration transformed into a quiet strength. He would not let the judgments of others define him. Instead, he would use this experience as a catalyst for change, not just for himself but for everyone who felt overlooked and underestimated. Marcus approached the main counter of the jewelry store, his heart pounding with a mix of anxiety and determination. He had made the decision to challenge the dismissive attitudes he encountered. Standing in front of the polished glass display, he took a deep breath and finally spoke up. "I would like to see your most expensive watch, please," he said, his voice steady despite the uncertainty swirling inside him. The moment the words left his lips, he could feel the weight of the salespeople's gazes on him. There was a pause, a moment where time seemed to freeze, and then a wave of disbelief swept over them. The salesperson, a young man with slicked back hair and a condescending smirk, raised an eyebrow. "Are you serious?" he replied, his tone dripping with sarcasm. "You want to see our most expensive watch? You do realize it's a luxury item, right?" Marcus felt a flush of heat rise to his cheeks, but he held his ground. "Yes, I do understand. I would like to see it, please," he insisted, keeping his tone calm. The tension in the air was palpable as a couple of other customers turned to watch the exchange. The young man exchanged glances with his colleagues, who snickered quietly, clearly amused by the situation. Marcus could feel their judgment like a heavy weight on his shoulders. This was not just about the watch, it was about proving that he deserved to be treated with respect, regardless of his appearance. As the salesperson reluctantly turned to retrieve the watch, Marcus remained composed. He could feel the eyes of the customers around him, their curiosity piqued by the unusual request. He realized that he was now the center of attention, and while it was uncomfortable, it also felt empowering. When the salesperson returned, he placed the watch on the counter with a flourish, as if it were a trophy. The watch was stunning, a gleaming masterpiece adorned with diamonds and intricate details. Marcus admired it, allowing himself a moment to appreciate the craftsmanship. But as he reached out to touch it, he sensed the skepticism in the air. The murmurs from the staff continued, and Marcus could feel the weight of their disdain. "You should really be looking at something more in your price range," the salesperson scoffed. Marcus met the young man's gaze, refusing to back down. "I'm not here to be judged by my appearance or my clothing. I am genuinely interested in this piece," he replied, his voice steady. The tension in the air intensified, and he could feel the collective breath of the room held in anticipation. In that moment, Marcus realized that this was not just a battle for respect, it was a moment of truth. He had to stand firm not only for himself but also for everyone who had ever felt overlooked or underestimated. He would not let their prejudices define who he was or what he could achieve. As the seconds ticked by, Marcus could feel the frustration building within him. He had entered the jewelry store with a sense of purpose, determined to challenge the assumptions that surrounded him. Yet, the dismissive attitudes of the staff only fueled his desire to prove himself further. He took a deep breath, trying to maintain his composure. The murmurs continued among the employees, their laughter echoing in the background. It was clear they were enjoying the spectacle of the situation, seeing Marcus as nothing more than a fool playing dress-up. But he was no fool. He was a man with years of experience in the jewelry industry, and he would not allow their mockery to go unchallenged. "Do you think I don't belong here?" Marcus asked, his voice firm but calm. The young salesperson, caught off guard by the directness of the question, hesitated for a moment. The atmosphere in the store shifted, the tension palpable as customers turned to watch the unfolding drama. "Maybe you should stick to the lower-priced items," the salesperson replied, trying to regain control of the situation. But Marcus could see the uncertainty flickering in the young man's eyes. He realized that his challenge was making an impact. "Is this how you treat all your customers?" Marcus continued, his gaze unwavering. "Do you judge them based on their appearance? Do you think that someone who looks different from you doesn't deserve the same level of respect and attention?" The silence in the store was deafening. Customers exchanged glances, some nodding in agreement with Marcus's words. The tension had reached a breaking point, and the reality of the situation began to sink in for everyone present. Just then, a figure stepped forward. It was the store manager, a middle-aged man with a polished demeanor and a forced smile. He approached Marcus with an air of authority, sensing the need to defuse the situation. "Is there a problem here?" he asked, glancing at the salesperson and then back at Marcus. Marcus took a moment to collect his thoughts, knowing that this was his chance to speak out not just for himself, but for anyone who felt marginalized. "I came here today to appreciate the beauty of your jewelry, but instead, I've been met with skepticism and disrespect. I believe everyone deserves to be treated with dignity, regardless of how they appear." The manager nodded slowly, acknowledging the truth in Marcus's words. "I apologize for your experience. It's unacceptable," he said, his voice steady. "Let's find a way to resolve this and ensure it doesn't happen again." As the manager addressed the staff, Marcus felt a wave of relief wash over him. This was the moment he had hoped for, the opportunity to challenge the status quo and make a difference. The tension in the store began to dissipate as the employees listened to the manager's words. In that moment, Marcus realized that his decision to step out of his comfort zone had not only been about him but also about creating change. This was just the beginning of a journey that would reshape not only his own life, but potentially the lives of others in the jewelry industry. The atmosphere in the jewelry store shifted dramatically as the manager addressed the staff, emphasizing the need for respect and inclusivity. Marcus stood there, his heart racing, knowing that he had made an impact. However, he also felt the weight of the moment heavy on his shoulders. He had entered the store as an ordinary man, but he was about to reveal something extraordinary about himself. With a steady breath, Marcus decided it was time to unveil his true identity. He had come to this store not just as a customer, but as the owner of the entire jewelry chain. "I appreciate your willingness to resolve the situation," he began, his voice calm yet firm. "But there's something you all should know. I am not just any customer. I am the owner of this store and the entire network of jewelry stores across the city." Silence enveloped the room as his words sank in. The shocked expressions on the faces of the employees were priceless. The young salesperson who had been so dismissive moments ago stood frozen, his mouth slightly agape. The reality of the situation hit them all like a wave. They had treated the owner of the establishment with disdain, failing to recognize him for who he truly was. The manager's smile faltered as he processed Marcus's revelation. "Are you serious?" he stammered, clearly taken aback. The tension that had filled the store moments before was now replaced by disbelief. Customers who had been silently observing the scene exchanged glances, their expressions a mix of surprise and curiosity. "Yes, I am serious," Marcus replied, his tone unwavering. "I have spent years building this business, and I came here today to see how my stores are being run. What I experienced reflects a larger issue that needs to be addressed within our company culture." The realization of their mistake began to sink in among the staff. The young salesperson, now visibly embarrassed, fumbled for words. I didn't know," he stuttered, his bravado slipping away. "I'm sorry for how I treated you. It was wrong." Marcus watched as the employees shifted uncomfortably, grappling with the consequences of their actions. He felt a mix of satisfaction and disappointment. This moment was a powerful reminder of the biases that exist not just in society, but within his own business. It was an opportunity for growth and change. As the silence lingered, Marcus decided to take charge of the situation. He addressed the staff directly, his voice firm yet compassionate. "What I experienced today is unacceptable, and it reflects the need for training and awareness within our team. We must ensure that every customer, regardless of their appearance, is treated with respect and dignity." The manager nodded, recognizing the truth in Marcus's words. "We can implement training programs focused on diversity and inclusion," he suggested, eager to make amends. "This will help our team understand the importance of treating everyone equally." Marcus felt a sense of hope rise within him. This was not just about his personal experience. It was about creating a workplace culture that valued respect and understanding. His revelation had opened the door for meaningful change, and he was determined to see it through. As the employees listened intently, Marcus knew that this was just the beginning of a transformation, not only for the jewelry store but for the entire company. Together, they could create an environment that welcomed all, fostering a sense of belonging and acceptance. Back in his apartment, Marcus sat in the quiet of the evening, the city lights twinkling outside his window. He reflected on the day's events, replaying them in his mind like a film. The experience at the jewelry store had shaken him, but it also ignited a fire within him, a desire to make a difference. He remembered the initial feeling of frustration when he was dismissed by the staff. It was a familiar weight that many people carried, the burden of being underestimated based on appearances. Marcus recalled his own past experiences with discrimination, moments that had shaped his understanding of the world. These memories flooded back, reminding him of the importance of empathy and connection. As he sat in silence, he thought about his family and the lessons they had instilled in him. His parents had always emphasized the value of kindness and respect for others. They taught him that everyone has a story, and that understanding those stories is key to bridging gaps between people. Marcus realized that these lessons were more important than ever. He pondered how he could use his position as a business owner to promote change within his company. The day's events had opened his eyes to the need for a more inclusive environment, one that embraced diversity and celebrated differences. He envisioned a workplace where every employee felt valued and respected, regardless of their background. Determined to take action, Marcus began to formulate a plan. He would initiate training programs that focused on awareness and understanding, helping his staff recognize their biases and learn how to foster an inclusive atmosphere. It was a daunting task, but one he was willing to undertake. Marcus also considered how his experience could resonate beyond the walls of his store. He envisioned community outreach programs that would allow his business to engage with diverse groups and promote conversations about inclusion. He wanted to create a ripple effect, inspiring others to join the movement toward a more equitable society. As the night deepened, Marcus felt a sense of purpose wash over him. He knew that the journey ahead would not be easy, but he was ready to face the challenges. Change takes time, and it starts with individuals willing to step up and make a difference. He was determined to be one of those individuals. With renewed clarity, Marcus decided to reach out to his team the following day. He would share his vision for a more inclusive workplace and invite them to be part of the solution. Together, they could create a culture that celebrated diversity, fostering an environment where everyone felt safe and valued. As he prepared for bed, Marcus felt a sense of hope. The day had been a turning point, not just for himself, but for his entire company. He was ready to embrace the journey of transformation, knowing that every step taken toward inclusivity was a step toward a brighter future for all. The next morning, Marcus arrived at the jewelry store with a renewed sense of purpose. He had spent the night reflecting on the events of the previous day, and he was eager to implement the changes he had envisioned. The atmosphere in the store was different. There was an air of anticipation as the employees prepared for the day ahead. As he entered, the manager greeted him with a nod, clearly aware of the significance of the previous day's revelations. Marcus could see the determination in the manager's eyes. He was ready to take accountability for the staff's behavior and work toward improvement. Together, they would create a more inclusive environment. "Thank you for meeting with me today," Marcus said, his voice steady. I believe we have a unique opportunity to make positive changes within our store and throughout the entire company. The manager expressed his eagerness to collaborate. I completely agree. We need to address the issues that arose and ensure that every employee understands the importance of treating every customer with respect. Together, they brainstormed ideas for training programs that would focus on diversity and inclusion. Marcus suggested bringing in an expert who could facilitate discussions on unconscious bias and empower employees to recognize their assumptions. The manager nodded enthusiastically, seeing the value in such an initiative. We can also implement regular workshops where employees can share their experiences and perspectives, the manager added. Creating a safe space for open dialogue will foster understanding among the team. Marcus felt a wave of gratitude for the manager's willingness to embrace change. I believe we can make this a collaborative effort, he said. Let's involve the entire team in the planning process. Their input will be invaluable in shaping these programs. As they continued to discuss the details, Marcus felt a sense of camaraderie building between them. They were united in their mission to create a workplace where everyone felt welcome. This partnership would be crucial in driving the changes they envisioned. After finalizing the initial plans, Marcus decided it was time to address the entire team. He gathered the employees in the main area of the store, feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness. As they took their seats, Marcus stood before them, ready to share his vision. "Thank you all for being here today," he began, his voice steady. "I want to take a moment to reflect on the events of yesterday. I believe we can turn this experience into a powerful opportunity for growth." He spoke candidly about the importance of treating every customer with respect and dignity, regardless of their appearance. He shared his own experiences and emphasized that everyone has a role in creating an inclusive environment. "I am committed to implementing training programs that will help us recognize our biases and promote understanding," Marcus announced. "Together, we can foster a culture that values diversity and embraces our differences." The employees listened intently, and Marcus could see the wheels turning in their minds. He encouraged them to share their thoughts and ideas, inviting them to be active participants in the process. This was not just about him, it was about all of them working together to create meaningful change. As the meeting concluded, Marcus felt a sense of hope and excitement. The journey ahead would require effort and dedication, but he was confident that with the support of his team, they could create a positive impact. Together, they would transform the jewelry store into a shining example of inclusivity and respect. In the days that followed, Marcus and the manager worked diligently to prepare for the training programs. They reached out to experts in diversity and inclusion, eager to bring fresh perspectives to their team. Meanwhile, the employees began to grapple with their own biases, reflecting on the way they treated customers and each other. As part of the initiative, Marcus called for a meeting with the sales staff. He wanted to confront the issues head-on, allowing them to share their thoughts and feelings about the experience that had unfolded. It was essential to create a safe space for open dialogue. On the day of the meeting, the salespeople gathered in the break room, a palpable tension hanging in the air. Marcus stood at the front, ready to facilitate the discussion. He took a deep breath, knowing that this would be a pivotal moment for the team. "Thank you all for coming today," Marcus began. "I want to address what happened during my visit to the store. It's important for us to have an honest conversation about our experiences and perspectives." The room was silent, and Marcus could feel the weight of their gazes upon him. He continued, "When I walked into the store, I was treated with skepticism and disrespect. I want to hear from each of you about what led to that behavior. Let's explore our assumptions and biases together." One salesperson shifted uncomfortably in their seat and spoke up. "I didn't think you were serious about wanting to see the expensive watch. I guess I just assumed you were someone who couldn't afford it." Another chimed in, "I thought I was just being honest. I didn't realize it came off as rude." Marcus nodded, acknowledging their honesty. It's important to recognize that our assumptions can lead to misunderstandings. We often judge others based on appearances without knowing their stories. How can we change that? As the discussion continued, The salespeople began to open up about their own experiences with bias. Some shared stories of feeling judged based on their backgrounds, while others admitted to their own preconceived notions. The conversation was raw and real, and Marcus could sense a shift in the room. He encouraged them to reflect on the impact of their actions. We have a responsibility to treat every customer with respect, regardless of how they look or what they wear. Our goal is to create an inclusive environment where everyone feels valued. Slowly but surely, the salespeople began to question their own behavior. They started to realize that their judgments had consequences, not just for customers but for themselves as well. The meeting became a platform for growth, where they could confront their biases and learn from one another. As the discussion drew to a close, Marcus felt a sense of accomplishment. The confrontation had turned into a meaningful dialogue, one that would pave the way for positive change. He encouraged the team to continue reflecting on their experiences and to embrace the training programs that were on the horizon. With a renewed sense of purpose, the salespeople left the meeting with a commitment to change. They understood that they had the power to create a welcoming environment, and Marcus was proud of the progress they had made together. The day of the first training session arrived, and excitement filled the air. Marcus had invited a renowned expert in diversity and inclusion to lead the workshop. The goal was to equip the team with the tools they needed to foster understanding and empathy within the workplace. As the employees gathered in the training room, Marcus could sense a mix of anticipation and nervousness. He took a moment to address them before the session began. Thank you all for being here today. This is an important step toward creating a more inclusive environment in our store. Let's embrace this opportunity to learn and grow together. The expert, a dynamic speaker with a passion for social justice, began the session by encouraging open dialogue. She shared stories of her own experiences with bias, helping the employees understand the importance of empathy and perspective. The atmosphere shifted as the team began to engage with the material. Throughout the workshop, the employees participated in interactive activities designed to challenge their assumptions and promote understanding. They discussed scenarios where bias might arise and explored ways to navigate those situations with compassion. Marcus actively participated, sharing his own experiences and insights. He felt a sense of camaraderie building among the team as they laughed, reflected, and learned together. The training was not just about policies and procedures. It was about fostering a culture of respect and inclusion. As the day progressed, the employees began to show signs of growth. They shared their thoughts and feelings candidly, recognizing the importance of treating every customer with dignity. The conversations became more profound, and the team started to bond over their shared commitment to change. By the end of the session, Marcus could see a transformation taking place. The employees left the training room with a renewed sense of purpose, eager to implement what they had learned. They understood that their actions could create a ripple effect, shaping the culture of the store for the better. In the following weeks, Marcus continued to support the team as they implemented the new policies and practices. He encouraged them to share their stories and celebrate their progress. Together, they were creating a space where everyone felt welcome, valued, and respected. The commitment to inclusivity became a central pillar of the store's identity, and Marcus felt a sense of pride in the changes they had made. The journey was far from over, but he knew that they were on the right path, one that would lead to a brighter future for everyone. As news of the store's transformation spread, the community began to take notice. Customers who had previously felt unwelcome in the jewelry store returned, curious to see the changes that had taken place. The atmosphere was different, more inviting, warm, and inclusive. One afternoon, as Marcus stood at the entrance of the store, he welcomed familiar faces. Regular customers approached him with smiles, eager to share their experiences. "I can't believe the changes you've made," one woman said. "It feels like a different place, and I feel valued as a customer." Marcus beamed with pride, knowing that their efforts were paying off. The store had become a space where people felt comfortable expressing themselves and sharing their stories. The employees had embraced the training, and it was evident in their interactions with customers. As the weeks went by, the store began to attract a more diverse clientele. People from different backgrounds and walks of life came to explore the jewelry, drawn in by the commitment to inclusivity. The once quiet store was now bustling with energy, laughter, and conversations. Marcus noticed how the employees had become more engaged with customers, asking questions and genuinely listening to their stories. The training had instilled a sense of empathy, and it was evident in the way they approached their work. The transformation was not just cosmetic, it was deeply rooted in the culture of the store. Local media caught wind of the changes and featured the jewelry store in a positive light. Marcus's story became a source of inspiration for others, showcasing the power of courage and commitment to create change. The article highlighted the importance of inclusivity in business and how it could lead to stronger connections within the community. As the store continued to thrive, Marcus felt a sense of fulfillment. He realized that the impact of their efforts extended beyond the walls of the jewelry store. The initiative had sparked conversations within the community about diversity and inclusion, encouraging other businesses to reflect on their practices. Word spread, and soon other jewelry stores within the network reached out to Marcus, eager to learn from his experience. They wanted to implement similar training programs and create a culture of respect in their own establishments. Marcus welcomed the opportunity to share his insights and help others embark on their own journeys of transformation. The impact on the community was profound. The jewelry store had become a symbol of hope and change, proving that inclusivity and empathy could lead to a more connected and harmonious society. Marcus felt a sense of responsibility to continue this work, knowing that the journey had only just begun. As the weeks turned into months, Marcus found himself reflecting on the journey he had embarked upon. The transformation of the jewelry store had not only changed the culture within the business, but had also deeply impacted his own life. He had grown in ways he never anticipated. Sitting in his apartment one evening, Marcus thought about the experiences that had shaped him. He remembered the feelings of frustration and disappointment when he was dismissed at the jewelry store. Those moments had ignited a fire within him, pushing him to confront biases and challenge the status quo. He recalled the lessons from his family, how his parents had instilled in him the values of kindness and empathy. Their teachings had become the foundation for his actions, guiding him as he navigated the complexities of the business world. Marcus felt grateful for their influence, knowing that it had shaped his perspective. As he reflected on the changes within the store, he recognized the importance of community. The connections he had forged with his employees, customers, and the wider community had become invaluable. Each interaction was an opportunity to learn and grow, and he cherished the relationships that had blossomed. During his reflections, Marcus also thought about the mentors who had guided him throughout his career. They had offered wisdom and insight, encouraging him to embrace challenges as opportunities for growth. Their support had been instrumental in shaping his leadership style, and he felt a responsibility to pay it forward. With a renewed sense of purpose, Marcus decided to expand the training programs beyond the jewelry store. He envisioned workshops and outreach initiatives that would engage the community and promote conversations about diversity and inclusion. He believed that the lessons learned could inspire others to create positive change in their own lives and businesses. As he reached out to local organizations and community leaders, he felt a sense of excitement. The opportunity to make a difference extended beyond the walls of his store. It was a chance to inspire others to join the movement for inclusivity. Marcus was determined to be a catalyst for change, encouraging others to reflect on their own biases and embrace empathy. In the days that followed, he organized community events where people could come together to share their experiences and learn from one another. The response was overwhelming, and Marcus felt a deep sense of fulfillment knowing that he was making a positive impact in the lives of others. As he prepared for the upcoming events, Marcus felt a renewed sense of hope. He knew that the journey of transformation was ongoing, but he was committed to continuing the work he had started. Together with his community, he would strive for a future where everyone felt valued and respected. The day of the celebratory event arrived, and the energy in the jewelry store was palpable. Marcus and his team had worked tirelessly to plan a gathering that would showcase their commitment to inclusivity and celebrate the changes they had made. The store was adorned with decorations, and a sense of excitement filled the air. As guests began to arrive, Marcus welcomed them with open arms. He could see familiar faces, customers who had returned, employees who had embraced the journey, and community members eager to celebrate. The atmosphere was warm and inviting, a reflection of the culture they had cultivated. Marcus took a moment to address the crowd, standing at the center of the store. "Thank you all for being here today," he began, his voice filled with gratitude. "Today is a celebration of change, of growth, understanding, and community. We have embarked on a journey together, and I am incredibly proud of what we have accomplished." He shared stories of the transformations that had taken place, highlighting the importance of empathy and respect in creating an inclusive environment. The crowd listened intently, and Marcus could see the pride in the eyes of his employees. As the event continued, employees took turns sharing their experiences and the lessons they had learned. They spoke about the impact of the training programs and how it had changed their perspectives. Customers shared their gratitude for the welcoming atmosphere, emphasizing how it made them feel valued. The celebration was filled with laughter, joy, and a sense of unity. Marcus felt a surge of hope as he witnessed the connections being forged among the attendees. The event had become a platform for building relationships and fostering understanding within the community. As the festivities drew to a close, Marcus reflected on the journey that had brought them to this moment. He understood that change takes time, but he was filled with optimism for the future. Together, they had created a space where everyone could feel safe and respected. As he looked around at the smiling faces, Marcus knew that this was just the beginning. The work they had done would continue to ripple through the community, inspiring others to embrace inclusivity and empathy. He felt a deep sense of fulfillment, knowing that he had played a part in creating a brighter future for all. With a heart full of gratitude, Marcus closed the event with a final message. "Let us continue to celebrate our differences and work together toward a more inclusive world. Together, we can make a difference, and together, we will create a future where everyone feels valued and respected." As the guests left the store, Marcus felt a renewed sense of purpose. The journey of transformation had just begun, and he was ready to embrace the challenges and opportunities that lay ahead. With his team and community by his side, he was confident that they would create lasting change, one step at a time.